Hi, welcome to today's video and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about this subject, how I helped this couple save over $1.3 million in estate taxes. Now this has been a remarkable transformation. I was so happy to deliver this kind of plan, this kind of result to this couple. They're delighted. That $1.3 million is now going to their kids at their passing, so I know that they're very pleased about that. Today I'm going to be sharing with you exactly how I went about doing these different strategies to achieve this result. So I'm going to share with you what it looked like when they first came to me, and then going to contrast that or compare that to the kind of things we did to have that result. So I think you're going to love it. Now, that's a lot of money, and some people are going to be thinking, like, I identify exactly with this. We got a lot of money in RSPs and TFSAs and non-registered accounts and LIFs and LIRAs. How do we actually do a plan so that we can optimize everything? It's so confusing, especially with CBP and old age security. Well, this plan is for you because I'm going to be digging into that. One thing I want to mention about this plan, or about my YouTube channel in general, you may want to click on the bell beside the subscription. It says subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell so you're always notified when a new video comes up, because YouTube has moved all your subscribed channels to the left-hand side. They're no longer in front of you anymore. So something to keep in mind. All right, let's get into why you're here today. You're going to love this video. All right, we're looking at the base plan. So what is a base plan? Base plan, well, a plan is made up of several scenarios. A base plan is who you are today. What's your current situation? Where's your money invested? Value of your home? The balances of all your investments? What's the number you're going to have at CPP at age 65? Not that you might take it at 65, but you've got that estimate from Canada Pension. You've given me some expenses that you want to use throughout your retirement. We put all that information in there and we say, okay, that's your life. If you do nothing but just follow the RRIF schedule that the government has laid out for you, here's what's going to happen. And then we say, okay, that's one scenario. Then what we do is we take another scenario and we say, what if you were to take CPP at a different age and compare those scenarios side by side and see if there's any improvement? Then we go, okay, that's starting to get a better position. What if we were to do a meltdown with your RSPs like this and your LIF this way, and compare those scenarios against one another, and we start seeing your plan take shape and see what planning decision affected another thing in your portfolio, and you can say, well, that is not a good path we want to take. We don't like that situation. So by comparing the different scenarios starts to actually help you figure out what is a good planning decision. But it takes 3 or 4 meetings sometimes to get to all of those scenarios, and you wind up with a plan that you're going to love and enjoy throughout your retirement, tax efficient, all your goals being met. So let's show you what this plan is doing. This couple has here a goal of spending about $78,000, call it $80,000 of after-tax income throughout their retirement. And they have typical things that you all are throwing into your plans, like travel, renovations. You're not going to stay in the same home and not renovate it the next 30 years. You're probably going to want to update the kitchen or the bathroom or your bedroom, or put a new roof on, maybe a driveway. All those things need repairing. Your kids might be growing up and getting married. You want to give some money to the kids. There's all these things, replacing cars, typical kinds of expenses that we'll see in plans. And then you might have some pension income, and then CPP and old age security. So all those things are in this plan. People ask me all the time, what kind of things go into a plan? Everything in your life goes into a plan. So it resembles your life on paper financially pretty accurately. Now you can see this couple has quite a bit of assets, and that's okay, because this is going to be a plan for people who've got a lot of assets. And you say, well, how do you get through all that? One of the things that this is demonstrating to you right now is if this couple does nothing but let their accounts RRIF at age 71, you'll see that they actually pass away with 1.7 million combined amounts in their RRIF accounts. That's not great, because the result of that ends up having a tax of 1.8 million. Now they have some money in a non-registered account as well, but it's a big estate, but nobody likes to give $1.8 million to Canada Revenue. Do you? I don't think you do. And so their biggest concern wasn't that they were going to run out of money. They didn't feel like they were going to run out of money. Their biggest concern is they wanted to have the highest estate they could for their family, for their kids, and also to not pay a lot of tax. So that is the base plan, and I have to make an improvement on that tax bill. Let's see. Obviously I did, because the name of the video says I saved them over 1.3 million. So let's go into now the how I went about doing this. All right, now you're looking at the same plan, but now with the solutions that I've done. Now, the first thing we did was we looked at CPP and old age security, and the couple, even though we did a scenario where we did CPP at 65 and CPP at 70, and compared those two planning scenarios side by side, age 70 came out better in their favor, but the couple really felt like they just wanted to hedge their bet and take CPP early, not because they felt they were going to run out of money, but because who knows how long you're going to live. You could be blessed with a long life, maybe not. And so they thought, you know what, when we get 100% of our CPP at age 65, so let's just take CPP at 65. And that's what we went with. When you're making a decision, I've said this many, many times, don't get hung up on CPP. Mathematically, you're always going to find out what's the mathematical, most optimal, best solution for you. What you really have to go with is what also feels good. Not to your detriment where you're losing a lot of money, but when people think about taking loans, for instance, and they'll say cash is king. Some people, even though leveraging would have been a better idea in taking loans, they may have had more money throughout their lifetime. The idea of owing money to somebody or a company really creates a lot of anxiety, and they would prefer not to have any debt. So what you have to do is make a plan where you also can live it. You can actually feel comfortable doing that plan. And so with this couple, they made the right decision for them, taking it 65. So we start with that. And that's sort of like the first step, is understanding when is the right time for you to take CPP. Once we've established that, people also ask, is there income splitting? You can see pension splitting is taking place right here. So that's also in your plan. Every plan, except unless you're a single person, has income splitting. So step one is we looked at CPP, they took at 65. Then the next step, of course, is understanding what kind of accounts that you have. You've got an RRSP, a LIRA, a non-registered TFSA, and another non-registered account. And in one of the accounts, they didn't want to spend money that is to be earmarked to be left alone. So we got all these zeros going through, but they do want to take some money out for their kids at the very beginning. And we talked about that, about what is the right thing to do, whether you should take money out of your portfolio. So all of you family members, all of you parents who want to give money to your kids, one of the areas that you should be examining is, what is the cost of taking money out of your portfolios early in your career versus having your kids do a higher mortgage amount and you help them with the mortgage payments. So model that in and see which one comes out ahead. You taking out an extra $3,000 a month over the few years to help them with the mortgage versus taking out a large amount of money. What we found was, if you take out money, this $400,000 is nearly a $2 million decision later on, because that $400,000 wasn't there to compound all those years. So that was a huge amount of money that's out of their portfolio for their kids in their estate. So it made sense for the kids to take a higher mortgage, so a high ratio mortgage, and have the parents help with the high ratio mortgage. That mathematically was much better. Again, we're going back to the math and debt, but we give the data and then you choose which way is the best way to go. So that by itself saved them almost $2 million of losses to their estate by not giving the money to the kids and helping them with a mortgage instead, mortgage payments instead. So that was one thing in this plan, was a little curveball that we helped them with, and it was awesome. Okay, so here's your RRSP Meltdown. Here's the LIRA. Here's the non-registered TFSA. So those are the accounts we're working with. And you can see, because there's a large non-registered account, we're putting in maximum TFSA contributions their whole life. Never going to spend that money. So bear in mind that when you have a lot of money in an RRSP and a lot of money in a LIRA account and also non-registered, you are never going to spend your TFSA unless something comes up that you just can't resist, or you want to help somebody out. It's there, but that money is going to be taxed sheltered their entire life. So an awesome estate planning tool for this couple is TFSA accounts. The next priority is understanding about the LIRA, converting it to a LIF. Now, this is the one tip I want to leave you with, because very few advisors know about this. And so this is a good tip for you. And very few people know about this. And there is a strategy to maximize or to optimize the amount of money coming out of your LIRA, or in this case, you don't take money out of LIRA, out of your LIF. And I'm going to share that in a separate video because it's too much to add on to this video. So again, on my channel where you've subscribed, hit the bell so you're notified when that video drops. It's going to drop in a couple of days on the weekend. So pay attention to that, because you're going to be able to get more money out of your LIF faster. So as you well know, one of the strategies here is to do a 50% unlocking, which we did. So he had much more money in his LIF. So we did the unlocking, we did converted it to a LIF, 50% unlocking. That money gets deposited to the RRSP, and then we do the RRSP meltdown. And then there's a technique that we use to even take more money out of the LIF. And so pay attention to that video that's going to drop in a couple of days. You're going to really love this video, but it is the high level financial planning. I'm not saying that advisors don't know this, but it's an extra step that your advisor has to take every single year with you. And it can be easily overlooked with your advisor if they're not really that engaged with you. So you're going to love it. Okay, the next step then is to go and do a meltdown. So what we're paying attention to when we're doing a meltdown is we're looking at the effective tax rate. We want to make sure that effective tax rate is as flat as we can all the way through, that we don't have these big spikes. And you can see here 25% all the way through his retirement. We get through that. When his tax rate was higher in 1 year, we took less out, and when it was lower in some years, we took more out. That's why you see 55,000. I'll make this bigger. That's why you see 50 and 55,000. Then you see 120,000, and you can see at the very bottom, he's out of his RRIF. No more money left. Awesome. This is a great solution. So we did that with his spouse. Same kind of situation, taking money out of her RRIF and filling up her tax-free savings account. And so let's go to the result. $718,000. So they went from $1.8 million of tax on their estate to $700,000 tax on their estate. The reason why there's still $700,000 is because of that non-registered account. So I encourage them to give away that money later on in their 80s when they know that they don't really need it, and start to dole out that money so it's not in their estate when they pass away, so that taxation isn't there. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I have a question for you. Do you know how much money your portfolio or your estate is losing to tax at your passing? You should be able to know that number and then have some strategies to make sure that you minimize that amount. Well, thank you so much for joining me in today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Put your comments below. Again, I love reading your comments, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks, and be well.